Looking over our 40-year marriage, I know there are times we've had conversations where you said you felt like you have put yourself on the back burner.
It was fear of, if I were just this size, I would be more accepted in love. You had never said that. Those who fear the commitment are often the ones who crave the connections.
I was about
the
to say that, but it's the consistent, everyday actions that make the difference.
Absolutely, that builds the trust.
Some people are afraid of losing love. Others are afraid of keeping it. Where are you? Teresa and I were married right out of college. We were clueless. We had no idea what we were doing. That desire, that journey to learn how to better our marriage expanded into a mission to change the way that marriage is done throughout the world. That's what we do on these shows. Welcome to Marriage with Jim and Teresa. My name is Jim. This is my co-host, my wife of the last 40 years, the mother of our 4 children, Teresa the therapist. Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Jim.
How's your week been?
It's been great.
You got off to a good start today?
I did.
So you got your workout in?
I did.
Hopped on the elliptical. I was going to use it, but it forced me to the Stairmaster, but that's okay.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about today what?
We're going to talk about how some people fear commitment.
Really?
Yeah. That's kind of what
I've heard that. Okay.
And, what if you're the one on the run? We're just going to explore that a little bit, talking about the fear of commitment.
So you've mentioned that there are 2 distinct fears. Some people fear losing love, and you say love, but I wonder if the better word is a relationship.
Okay.
Is it love? We can use them interchangeably.
You can. I think
Some people fear not having a relationship, love. Some people fear having a relationship, love.
Right.
That seems interesting, but tell me more.
Right. So the fear of losing love, I say this is the more common acknowledged fear.
Let me think. The fear of losing love
Yes.
is more common than the smaller portion of people who fear being in love or fear having a relationship. Some people have, okay, keep going.
So people who struggle, they might struggle with things like cling tightly to relationships, fearing abandonment or rejection. So they just so into it, they just hold on to, they're just really allowing a lot of things to maybe happen, but they're holding on to this relationship. Sometimes they deal with anxiety, in dealing with this, always bracing for the other person to leave. How some people will say, let me get mine in before they get theirs in. You've heard that kind of something like that.
These stories.
Yeah. Okay. They overfunction in love, trying to please. They like to fix. They perform just to earn love. And, that can be anytime you're trying to please, you're trying to fix or perform just to earn love. That's kind of a problem. That is fear. That's fear working at its best. You avoid being vulnerable, because you believe love is is conditional. Not unconditional, which it should be, but you're thinking it's conditional on what you need to do. So that's the fear of losing love or losing a relationship. And it just, all that fear is often rooted in past hurts. No, people don't like to hear that. Past traumas. And people, and trauma can be a little, one of those trendy words, or what do you call them? One of those words that people are using. Everybody's using it right now, but it mainly says what happened to me in my past. How did it affect me, and how is it affecting me today? So it could be abandonment. It could be inconsistent caregiving. That's why you might do that, and that leads to a behavior where you can sabotage your relationship. The intimacy, you can just sabotage the relationship just because of your fear.
Okay. I heard you say.
Okay, no, tell me.
So you talked about some people have a fear of losing love. They have a desire for a relationship, which we all do. We're created like that. We have a desire to be loved. Everybody does. But I hear you saying that some people have, I'm going to use this word, such an obsession such a fixation on that they end up creating for themselves the very thing they don't want to happen. So I don't want to be out of a relationship with you. So one, I'm clingy. Did you use that word?
I did.
Use that word. I'm clingy.
Clinging tightly.
Two, I don't share. I'm not vulnerable because I think your love is conditional with me being a certain way. So, wow, this is interesting. But that's not sustainable.
Right. Exactly. It's not. But it is something that happens.
Okay. So the person doing that, they don't know that it's not sustainable. Why are they doing it?
Well, in the moment, I don't know if they are really aware
that they're doing it. So they wouldn't. If I ask you, "Are you being clingy?" You think they would? You think they would say no?
They would say, "I really like that person. I really want to be with them." They would give an excuse.
And then I would say, "Hey, Sharon, I noticed that you're not really vulnerable when you're talking to Gregory." They would say,
"I can't trust that," or I'm afraid of that.
Hey, the stuff that you tell me, I find this so Why do I find this so fascinating?
I don't know, because you know human nature and you also know the brain.
But I guess I also understand that, or I would expect people to sit down and kind of walk through.
And they do, eventually.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. They'll see it.
Okay.
Or I'll show it to them.
We're talking about the fear of losing love. Now, the less common fear, but nevertheless, you say a fear, is the fear of keeping love. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm not sure I've seen. You've actually seen this?
Yeah. Some people fear the responsibility that comes with sustaining an intimate relationship or just a relationship or love.
Okay.
Being truly seen, which lasting love inevitably, it usually exposes that. The idea that they are unworthy of long term. So they're kind of sabotaging. It can sabotage. That's right. And losing themselves in the relationship. And it's all about the other person, which then that eventually wears out as well. It eventually disappoints them.
Hey, haven't you said or at some point in the past in our relationship that you felt like you were losing yourself in our relationship? Or did I make
Yes. No, I think I was at one point. It was all about you.
What?
Yeah, it was. It was all about you.
How did we end up like that?
Well, I think it was, okay, we had the kids and it was all about them, just about.
No, wait.
I said just about.
Are you saying, okay, let's level set. Are you saying Teresa, made it all about you?
There you go.
Then Teresa, made it all about the kids. So how did you end up like that?
I'm not exactly sure how. I felt that they were so important that I wanted them to, and that's the sacrifice I think a parent makes.
Okay.
To some degree. Now we can take it too far. And I think maybe at one point, maybe I took it too far. I wanted them to have everything they needed, and I sacrificed everything I could to make sure they did, and I didn't do, I guess, stuff for me. But it turned. And then it changed.
Then that bled over, because you're talking about being a mother. But then tell me how, if that did bleed over into being a wife, how did that carry over?
Well, then you were very. Let's see. No.
Clingy?
No. It's not. You are
hard to deal with.
No. I called you.
Wouldn't let you get your words out.
Yeah. Okay. I call you a high maintenance man.
Man, that's interesting, Teresa. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think.
You're very high maintenance. You're a very high maintenance man.
What does that mean?
You need stuff. You want stuff, and that's not a problem.
Hey, you don't have to justify my poor behavior.
I'm not saying that's poor behavior. That's what you desire.
Can you give me? And by the way, we have not talked about this. I had no idea what she was going to say. Can you give me some examples?
That you're a high maintenance
Whisper in my
man?
ear before we let everybody else
No,
hear.
they can hear.
Yeah. Tell me, what been I do?
Well, I think you just have certain things you want, certain standards you have. And it's not that I don't have standards. It's just yours are different than mine.
All I know is, and I wasn't sure what you were going to say, I just know, I remember looking over our 40-year marriage. I know there are times we've had conversations where you said you felt like you have put yourself on the back burner.
I have.
And
that was the sacrifice. I know that.
But here's what I'm saying, back to today's topic. So are you saying, was that rooted in your fear of losing love?
I don't think it was necessarily that. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I just.
But no, I
some
don't
of the
think
things that you said were.
It made you think of that?
Some of the things you said were a person who has a fear of losing love, losing a relationship. Some things they do is lose themselves in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That reminded me that I think I've heard you say that before. Mm-hmm. So that's unrelated to the topic that we're talking about.
It is.
Okay. Hey, Teresa, I try to keep this real.
Okay.
I mean, if we need to hash something out here in front of everybody,
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this fear often shows up as avoidance, withdrawal, sabotaging, which we have all said that. It's doing that to this beautiful love relationship.
Oh, so like sabotaging, but of course I don't know I'm sabotaging.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Okay.
It has to really kind of be pointed out to you. It can be rooted in childhood experiences of love being suffocating, manipulative behaviors, and even danger.
But if I grew up with suffocating, manipulative behavior, wouldn't that teach me to not do that myself?
Not necessarily.
Oh.
You could follow the same pattern.
Even though I didn't like it?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why exactly. It's a pattern that you've learned. It's something that's learned. Has been inbred in you, and you just expresses it with this particular person or whomever.
Okay.
Certain things come up from your childhood in the way we respond every day.
So I know that we all see and hear life through the eyes and ears of our past experiences. We all bring baggage. I guess what I hear you saying is, I grew up being manipulated, and I forgot the other thing that you said, and I didn't like it.
Suffocating.
Suffocate, thank you. And I didn't like it, but yet here I am repeating the same behavior that I didn't like.
You hear people say, I'm not going to be like my mom.
I do. I've heard people say that.
And you look in the mirror one day and you say, I'm just like my mom. I did that same thing. That's what she would say. So it's one of those things.
Interesting. Okay, so on the one hand, we're talking about, I have a fear, is it fair to say, of commitment? I know we're saying a fear of being in love, a fear of being in a relationship. And then the other person over here has a fear of losing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you also mentioned that both fears, I've heard you say, can coexist.
Yeah.
I get in the same relationship, but you're not saying in the same person, or are you?
I am. I'm saying some people experience both fears.
The same person?
At once.
Really? Okay. I got to hear this.
They long for connection,
okay,
yet they push it away when it feels too real.
If you say so.
So it's like a tug of war.
Within the person.
Within the person. The person is confused. They're stuck and they're caught in repeating relational patterns. So it's like a tug of war. I really want this connection, but I'm really fearful of.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is one of those fears more dominant than the other? Like, for example, am I aware that I really want the connection, and then subconsciously, am I sabotaging it, or both of them are very conscious? What would you say?
No, I don't think both of them are really no, I don't.
So is one dominant and the other one more recessive?
I think they're real close. They're like you say, coexist. I'm not sure in what degree.
Okay, so help us understand commitment fears. Okay, let me just think this through. There's a person, and hey, listeners, I'm sure you know somebody. Hey, chances are, if you don't know somebody, it's probably you. So you may have a situation where you are aware of somebody with a fear of commitment. Help us walk through that, Teresa.
Yeah. So usually fear, it's rooted in control, abandonment, and even, like I say, I go back to the past. It's rooted in some of those past wounds.
Wait a minute.
It's like I'm trying to control this situation. I want this to work this way, but yet there's a fear that's hanging out there. And what does God say about fear?
Well, fear's not of God.
No, it's not.
I mean, God doesn't give us the spirit of fear.
Right. So fear is not a good thing.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I
in
agree.
the sense of when you're trying to be in a relationship, sometimes you have to step out and do
Does the
whatever's
person
needed.
understand that they're operating from a sense of fear?
No, usually you don't see it till later. Usually you see it when I sit down and we talked about it.
Oh, okay. So,
And I'll say,
let's
it sounds like you were really trying to control this situation. She said, they'll say something like, oh yeah, I guess I was trying to control it because I wanted it to happen this way. And that's the way I thought it should happen. And then I have to sometimes help people see we've got to consider both people. But don't let me go too far off course here.
Keep going.
But yes, the
So
fear of
understanding commitment fears, you say it's rooted in control, abandonment, or past wounds. Keep going.
Right. So fear of commitment is often a defense mechanism. You've heard that?
I'm thinking about
yeah.
it. Fear of commitment is a defense. Okay,
Yeah.
I see you.
It's built from emotional pain, or like I say, these earlier experiences or earlier relationships that you've experienced. So you have done that. You've kind of put that defense up,
Okay.
and it's for protection. Why? It's protection. It's protecting that emotional part that we want so dearly to really be protected because it's very important. It's a vulnerable part.
Okay.
Okay.
You're making sense, Teresa.
Okay.
You're making sense. So
All right.
then you talked earlier about what's next? Control, abandonment, past baggage, past wounds. What's next?
So it also can be masked.
I just thought something. You remember we had a couple once, and I remember asking you this question. See if you remember the story. So I was working with the husband, and he was sharing stuff with me. He said, "Hey, in the middle of a tense situation or frustrating situation, my wife typically goes to, I can't remember. Is this ringing a bell with you? I guess we'll just get a divorce.
Oh yeah.
Or I guess I'll just leave." And I remember sharing this with you. Mm-hmm. I said, "Why do you think she does that?" You remember?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said it's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear that
and that's
let me do it first before he does it.
That was the first
it looks
time
like
I heard that.
Yeah.
I was like, so you're saying in the middle of an argument, the reason this person jumps to, I guess I'll just get a divorce then. And then you said that's out of fear. Mm-hmm. That was shocking to me. But it made so much sense. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you're...
Yeah, and so you're leading right into this. So,
okay, tell me.
So it can be masked as independence or pickiness. So you start something on the surface like it might look like, I'm just not ready. I have high standards, or I like my freedom, or like you said, I'll just get a divorce. I'll just...
Okay, but now hold on. But the things you're saying could be true. I mean, maybe I'm really just not ready.
Well,
right?
That's
maybe
a possibility.
Hopefully you do have high standards.
Right, but I'm saying in the context of the fear, like you said, I'll leave before someone leaves me. In the context of dealing with the fear, yes, those things could be, but I'm just saying that is what's driving those things to say I'm not ready. Now, I don't think you're going to. You could say something different. You could say, let's slow this down, because I really like you and we can keep going. You see what I'm saying? He or she is saying it to pull away from this person.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? That's the pull away part. Yeah. Okay.
What else you got?
So these protective layers disguise deeper fears. So it could look like no one ever's good enough. You might say something like that. Might really mean like, if I let someone in, I might lose myself, or I might get hurt. Well,
I'm not sure I understand losing myself. I understand getting hurt.
I know. I was going to say I don't think you would ever understand losing yourself.
Because I can't understand stuff?
No, because you're selfish.
We said we're going to keep this honest, didn't we?
Yeah.
I know you were going. Well, I know you literally were going to do it.
But I'm selfish too.
No, you're not. I found you to be selfless.
No, I am selfish. I think we all are selfish. We just don't want to admit it. In our own
Okay,
way, we
okay,
are selfish.
okay.
I just point out yours because yours seem to be sticking up higher than mine.
You point your finger too. Okay, keep going, keep going.
All right. So another thing, people who deeply desire connection often it really affects those type people. That's what you see what I'm saying? They are really looking for that deep connection. They've probably been hurt in the past and now they're trying to start again. And so they're trying to step out. But those who fear the commitment are often the ones who crave the connections.
I was about
the
to say that. I've heard you say, which to me is paradoxical, is antithetical. I've heard you say that those who fear commitment are often the ones who crave connection the most. That doesn't even go together. Explain it.
No. There's no explaining to it. It is just what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Their heart longs for intimacy, but they fear of being hurt. They have a fear of being hurt, rejected, trapped, or...
Nobody wants to be hurt.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be hurt, but that is their fear.
Okay. So if I want closeness, but I fear getting close, then we've already talked about how I can kind of self-sabotage. I don't even realize I'm doing it. I can withdraw. I can feel lonely. I can repeat. So why do I keep pushing on? Okay. Why do I keep pushing away from what? Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. from what I really want. Not because I forgot, but by looking at you, I forgot.
Okay, keep your focus.
Are we still live? Oh, okay. So
get yourself together.
Yeah. So why do I keep pushing away from what I actually want?
Well, like I say, it's the fear of that emotional connection that you want, that you might get rejected, that you might get hurt. And so I do pull away. But like I say, I tell people, I've told you, everybody, being in a relationship is a risk. But it's the risk you want to take to find that one. And like I say, like you said in one of the other episodes, now everybody don't need to be in relationships.
Did you say that?
Well, I think you said
not everybody needs to be
parents. You did say that.
Yeah, no.
Well, everybody don't need to necessarily be in a relationship.
Really?
But, yeah.
Kind of harsh, isn't it?
Well, not everybody want to be in relationships.
Okay.
But we are relationship people.
Now you mean romantic
relations. You need relationships.
Yeah. Okay,
but not necessarily a romantic relationship.
I got you.
And that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
So you say oftentimes a commitment fear is not so much I don't want to be in a relationship. It's more I don't want to experience the pain that the risk I'm taking may actually cause.
That's exactly right. That is it. Absolutely.
Wow. That's some interesting stuff, Teresa.
I know. I tell you.
So, okay, if I'm in a relationship or starting at the beginning of a relationship, what are some behaviors that I could notice or be aware of that reveal fear of commitment?
Okay, so sabotaging closeness. Okay, let me show you what that looks like.
Show me what that looks like.
All right. It's like picking fights when things are going well.
Who does that?
It happens. And this happens in marriages too. But I mean, of course, this is...
Let's start with the first one. So if I have a fear of being in a relationship and I see that things are going well, I've seen this in the movies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've actually ever seen it, but one of the things I do is I'm going to create a fight. Do I know, am I aware that I'm trying to sabotage? I
don't think you know at the moment. You're just trying to get away from a feeling that you're feeling because you're afraid of. It's usually a feeling of connection, you really like the person.
So things are going so good.
Yeah.
But I feel like I need to.
Let me stop it. I don't trust it. So, yeah. So pulling away emotionally after a moment of connection, that's another way to sabotage closeness.
Okay.
It also looks like ghosting and withdrawing just when the relationship deepens. That's the same thing. Flirting with others and acting disinterested to create a distance. Now that's really emotional immaturity. I just absolutely don't like that. But anyway, it does sabotage closeness. So the closer we get, the more I want to push away. That's that whole sabotage closeness idea.
And I know that baggage is a big deal, and I understand that we all have baggage.
We do.
So I guess I didn't understand how much, because you talk about the fear of closeness often stems from the belief that a person believes that intimacy is going to equal eventual pain or loss. So the person is so convinced, because I guess that's been their experience, they're so convinced, I know where this is going to end up. So they go ahead and make it, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, that's it.
Keep going, Teresa.
So gently, I guess usually I try to help them be aware of what's happening, the patterns that they're experiencing. And a lot of times they'll say, wow, I guess I did do that, And then I'll talk to them about past relation wounds, if there was something there, to know that just because that happened back there, it doesn't mean that it has to happen here, and you can do something about it. So I help them learn to stay emotionally present when they feel vulnerable, instead of running away from it. Don't run from it. Walk into it, experience it. And sometimes it takes a while to get them there.
Okay. Now, the next thing that you're going to mention, I want to be careful. I want to be careful to draw the distinction. You talk about don't overanalyze flaws. But, ladies and gentlemen, we spend a lot of time in past shows talking about don't ignore, well, here's how we phrased it, don't ignore red flags. Okay, so help me reconcile. Geez, Teresa, you're confusing me. On the one hand, you said don't ignore red flags. Now you say don't overanalyze flaws. How do I know I'm not too far on one side or the other?
But let me bring us back here. We're talking about the behaviors that reveals fear.
Yeah. So you're saying one of the behaviors that would reveal fear is overanalyzing flaws.
Yeah.
But also you have told me not to ignore red flags. So how do I know that I'm overanalyzing a flaw versus ignoring a real red flag that I should not ignore?
Oh, you're asking a deep question. Let me just kind of help you look at the overanalyzing flaws and what they look like. It looks like...
Then maybe I'll see the difference myself. Okay.
I like them, but their laugh is kind of annoying.
Well, that's just stupid.
They're great, but I just don't feel that spark anymore.
Now, wait a minute. People are dating. These are people who are dating. Okay.
So you're overanalyzing the flaws.
Okay.
I can't see myself with this person who doesn't like the same kind of music I like.
Okay, yeah. Now I bet it's clear to me. It's clear to me. Those aren't red flags,
right?
Are they even flaws?
Well, they're making this up in their head that is a flaw for them because they're trying to pull away once again.
Okay, got you. So what is? Go ahead.
So this hyper focus, what we call on the flaws, is often a fear in disguise. That's what it is. It's just fear in disguise. It's a mental escape. It kind of protects against attachment. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do.
So this person convinces themselves that this relationship isn't really viable. So they don't have a face. They don't have.
So one thing
they don't have to face their discomfort.
One thing I want our listeners to do while we're walking through this is not like some of us do with the pastor's sermon. Man,
what they do?
Girl, I wish Shamika was here to hear this. Shamika? I mean, not her real name. You know how y'all do? As opposed to going like, what could I have learned from this? So as you're listening to this, I want you to move beyond. That reminds me of Robert, the last guy I dated. Or that reminds me of Michelle. I mean, we want you to start with you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Look in the mirror before you look out the window.
There it is.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So we want you to start with you. Are you doing this? And you're sitting here, okay, why don't I have successful relationships? And you may not have realized, man, I actually have a fear of being in a relationship. Or somebody else may be going, man, I actually realize I have a fear of not being in a relationship.
Or I see myself pulling away.
Yeah. So I really want you guys thinking about this as I'm thinking about it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm not planning on pulling away, but I'm not going to pull away.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. So really another one could be saying I'm not ready, but never exploring why.
Okay.
So that's one of the behaviors. And it might look like or sound like I'm just not really ready for something serious. They might say something like that. And then of course, this isn't a good time in my life.
Well, then why did you start the relationship?
I know it. That's what I would think. However, that people do that.
Okay.
I want to wait until I'm healed.
I agree with that.
I think that's one.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying those are some of the behaviors you see and which is fear is really all behind that. It's the driving force.
So this kind of, you talk about that this reveals a kind of a hidden fear of failure, abandonment, not feeling like you're enough.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Keep going.
Instead of facing the fears, that person kind of stays in limbo, postponing real intimacy indefinitely. But it does definitely, that's where the hidden fear is around the failure, fear of failure, the abandonment, and not really saying I'm not good enough. So that is kind of how the brain is processing there.
A question just popped in my head. We didn't talk about this, but
What?
So we're talking about dating and relationships, which this also applies. But let's talk about remarriage.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you had maybe the death of a spouse, the loss of a spouse, or your first marriage ended in divorce.
Mm-hmm.
This would be applicable there too, as well, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. You would definitely probably deal with some fear of dealing with what you dealt with in the previous
Now,
relationship.
I get if it was a divorce, but let's say if your first husband, wife passed away, and obviously that's traumatic and painful, could that be at the root, maybe you don't even realize, of why you don't connect with somebody else going forward?
I don't know if the death part would be. It would probably be more like a divorce.
Okay.
Not the death.
Because there could be I lost a spouse. I don't want to go through that again, but you don't think that's probably that big?
Not. I mean, some people do have that feeling, but no, I don't think that particular part. I think it would be more like a divorce.
Okay, all right, keep going.
When there's been some type of trauma part.
So you talk about you encourage. What do you mean when you say, "Hey, I encourage the client to go deeper"? What does that mean?
So I'll say, what would being ready actually look like for you?
Okay.
We could talk about that, and then I would say, like, what are you afraid of that might happen if you didn't take this step toward love? And I'll just get deeper into that, so they can we can work on healing and just intentional growth.
Here's the thing: when you're dealing with believers who know the word, fear is not of the Lord. But hey, I'm sitting here looking at you. You're operating in a spirit of fear. So the people you talk to, or people in general, do you think they are aware that it boils down to fear?
Like I say, I don't usually not when we first get started, but once they have explained and expressed things to me, then I can show them where that fear is. And then they can acknowledge the fear and begin to work on it.
So they might start by saying, I'm not operating from a spirit of fear, but you point out certain things which helps them see. Okay.
Usually I give them examples that they've given me.
Oh, wow. Because you say, I've heard you say, fear doesn't always shout. What's the rest? It's sometimes it whispers. Fear doesn't always shout. It sometimes whispers.
Okay, I don't know if I said that. Did I say that?
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Oh,
Fear doesn't always shout. It sometimes whispers. But I can't remember I can't remember your point. Oh, I know your point. Your point was the reason you may not recognize it is because it may be whispering through sabotage, criticism, or hesitation of things that you've mentioned. But it's a still small voice whispering, and it's so subtle that you don't know that fear is what's making me have a problem with commitment.
Right.
Okay.
The behavior is expressed. Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
So let's just look at this, the takeaway from this.
Okay.
So fear doesn't always shout. It often whispers, like we said. through sabotage, criticism, and hesitation. But no, you didn't say it like I thought you were going to say it, so I didn't pick it up.
Okay.
So when I'm trying to help someone recognize that the whispers is the step toward freedom and connection, and that's what we want them to do. So we have there is three kind of, let's just say, I'll call them steps toward dealing with that, finding security in the face of fear. And the first thing is identifying core fears. So we look at it. We look at, before someone can feel secure, they must become aware of what's making them feel this, feel fear, feel unsafe.
Okay.
Right. So we figure out what is that. So the core fear often operates beneath the surface, and it shows up like what we said already: fear of abandonment,
Okay.
their rejection, or afraid, the fear of not being enough. These are some main things that I hear a lot.
Now,
the fear of losing control.
you have to dig it, or they don't come in saying, "I fear this."
No, they don't. We usually have to dig and find this.
Okay. But through your digging, you uncover that this is what's okay. Keep going.
And then the fear of being too much or not worth staying for.
Wait a minute. Now you're confusing me. You said a fear of not being enough. Now you're saying a fear of being too much.
Or not.
There's a whole lot of fear going on here.
That's why we're identifying the core of it, so that we can deal with it. And like I say, it all comes from what has happened in our past experience, right? It could be past relationships. It could have been some family thing, something that you've internalized as a belief. Something like, you could say something like, I have to be perfect to be loved.
Because that's what you were taught. That's what you learned. That's the behavior. It's like maybe as a child.
I'm going to go somewhere, and this is not going to be. I'm going to be vulnerable. So
Aren't you always being vulnerable?
Well, more
You're
so.
going to be more vulnerable than normal. Okay, all right. Wow, this.
Well,
Do I need to pause?
no. I'm
Okay.
just going to say that was a fear. And this is going to be a little difficult for me, but I had a fear of that I was going to always be overweight, and it's like it happened. Does that make sense? I had a fear. I felt like if I was a certain size, that's what it was. I would be more accepted. And if you know, in my growing up, in the years that I grew up, you got to see certain people. They were in their beautiful dresses. They were small, and I just said, and I needed to be a certain size, and then I would be more accepted. And that has driven me. I didn't get to the size I wanted to be, but that did drive me, and that was a fear. It was fear of if I were just this size, I would be more accepted and loved. You had never said that, but that was in my brain, and that has been in my brain for years. Isn't that horrible? But I've changed it. I did change it when I went through counseling, when I went through counseling and went through my practicum and everything, and we went through counseling. So I released that, but it still was something that I did fear. And I was never good enough until I got to a certain size. But I let that go because I never did get to that size, but that was still there. So I'm just trying to show you a real point.
You being vulnerable.
Thank you.
Wow. So what you're saying is, and you and I are really, what's the word? Concerned about, aware of, intentional about our fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, out of a week, we're working out 6 days, sometimes 5, but mostly 6. We're you more than me are careful about what you eat. But here's the point I want to make. So while we're not saying don't be aware of health and fitness, don't strive for certain goals, what we're saying, or you correct me if this is not what you're saying, that's not related to your self-worth.
Right. And don't be driven by the fear of I need to be this or that to be a happy person or a joyous person or
And
accepted person.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
But those are the little fears that can drive people. I mean, you hear it all the time. You hear football players say that fear of not ever being the way they were before, like they might have lived in a shack and their mother didn't have this and the mother didn't have that. Well, that's a fear that drives them to perform well because they don't ever want to do that again. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect
But
sense.
that's how, and I guess I went a little too far. But
No, that
I
makes
wanted to just show you how that fear it can drive. You know, it can drive. But we're trying to find security now. So we're trying. Let me go back to that.
okay.
So we're step forward with security in the face of fear. So that's where we are now.
You know, the thing that's becoming apparent to me as we talk through this.
And go ahead. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about is communication with transparency. That's what I just did.
Yeah. So go ahead.
But no, I just wanted to just bring that in there. Fear thrives on silence and secrecy. Once
Understand that.
you put fear out there and put some light on it, it can't stand. It cannot be. It doesn't have power.
So, what are you saying? You need to speak your fear and you need to speak it out loud. You need to share it with somebody. What are you saying?
Yeah, this is name the fear. You know, when you see it.
How do I do that? I mean, do I need to have a close confidant that I can talk to name the fear? Do I need a therapist?
Well,
do I name it to myself?
You definitely can name it to yourself first, but also you can talk to a therapist or a good friend that you can trust. You don't want to be putting yourself out there to anybody. You could say, I really care about this relationship. And this is transparency in expressing yourself. I really care about this relationship, but it's hard for me to really trust fully. You see, I just told you, I loved this relationship. I like being in it, but I have a problem dealing with trust.
Okay, now, Teresa, here's a question I want to ask you. I hear exactly what you're saying, but my concern about that is that some people, well, I guess I'll ask in the form of a question. Can you be too transparent too soon?
I agree, 100%. This takes time.
So how do I know that our relationship has progressed to the point where I can be, like you just said a few minutes ago, I want to be totally transparent with you.
Mm-hmm.
How will I know when my relationship has gotten to the point that I can be that transparent?
Well, I think you both have to realize, okay, this is something we want, and we want to take it further and deeper, and we start to grow and build our lives together or our relationship.
So in other words, we have spent enough time together to know that this relationship is going somewhere.
Right. We want it to go somewhere. We want to take the next step.
And as part of that journey, now we need to start sharing at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And at deeper levels than we have been. Okay, I follow you.
Right, because I'm trying to be real because we are getting closer.
Yeah.
So yes, the transparency is important. Here's another one.
Okay.
When you withdraw, I feel anxious and I'm afraid I've done something wrong. So they take ownership of the other person's feelings, and you don't want to do that. But I'm glad you're telling me so that I'm putting that out there. I'm showing that fear. I'm exposing it to say I do feel anxious and afraid, but I just want you to know. And I really I'll tell the client, like, you need to take responsibility you can't take responsibility for how that person is feeling or dealing with something. You can talk about it with them, but don't take the responsibility of it. And that's what that person had done, in that example.
Okay. I got you. Another thing that you talk about sharing, and again, these would be deeper levels of sharing, is to share with somebody, and I know this is going to make some people uncomfortable, is sharing, hey, I need reassurance. Talk about that a little bit more, to kind of actually being comfortable enough to share that.
Right. Because you're saying, not because I doubt you,
Mhm.
but because I'm still learning to feel secure with you.
Mhm.
See, I don't trust you fully
Yeah.
because I'm getting to know you.
Yeah. Oh, and you
And-
shouldn't hurry to trust fully.
Right. Exactly. So you're working your way in there, but that's what this behavior is looking like when you're getting to that secure place.
Understand.
Is you're sharing you're communicating with. And Brene Brown says this: vulnerability is not weakness; it's the birthplace of connection, and that's what we want. I love connection. When we're connected, we feel safe. We're secure, and we can grow in a relationship.
Wow. This is really good information. Good
Mm-hmm.
information.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk. Do you have some growth work things that you want to share, or not?
Sometimes, we've done this
Tell me.
when we do I feel statements.
Yeah. So one of the things that we coach to is when you are sharing something with someone, we talk about, you don't want to talk about starting with you.
Right.
You don't want to use words like never or always.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a tactic, an approach that nobody should argue with. When you do this, or am I starting right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Teresa, when you do this, it makes me feel.
Well, I don't like to make feel.
Okay, tell me.
Just
Okay,
say,
explain.
when you say harsh things,
Mhm.
I feel
Like you don't care.
right. I feel that you don't care. I feel that you devalue me, or I feel that you, well, it can be hurtful. And those are my feelings. So what I do is I'm taking ownership of how I feel, and not saying you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that or you.
And then the other part of that is, therefore, I can't say, shouldn't say, it's not valid if I do say it, well, you shouldn't feel like that.
Right.
Because
Just validate my
yeah,
feelings.
yeah, because you
So how would you do that? How would you say?
Hey, Teresa, if I understand, I would probably repeat it. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
Good.
When I do, well, let's talk about a real example. When I
Say harsh things.
Yeah, when I say harsh things to you,
Uh-huh.
what I understand now. Wait a minute, why is that a real? Like you picked that as a real example.
Because sometimes you can be harsh.
Hey, slow your roll there, Teresa. So, but back to the example. These are some people that we know, friends of ours that do this, right? No, you're right. Sometimes I do say harsh things.
I do too.
I don't think I'm trying to be harsh, but that's not the point. Back to the exercise. Hey, Teresa, I appreciate you sharing that with me. What I understand you to say is, when I say harsh things to you, it makes you feel unappreciated. It makes you feel not loved.
Devalued.
It makes you feel devalued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you can say, well, that's maybe not how I intended to, and I'm sorry you feel that way.
And
what can I do?
Yeah, because what you don't want to do is be defensive.
Right, don't validate.
I don't say harsh things.
Right.
You know,
she's already said you do.
Yeah. Or we don't want to start in terms of what I think is harsh and what you think are harsh may be different. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. The point is, okay, I got you.
I'm sorry.
Good exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be one of the exercises.
We just had this situation on a recent road trip.
Yeah, we did.
On the phone situation.
Uh-huh.
Do we need to go any further?
No, you don't need to go any further.
Okay. All right.
So small agreements that build safety. Some things you all can come together to talk about. For instance, so let's just say emotional security is built over time. And we just said that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So not in a grand gesture, but in small, consistent moments when trust is earned.
So there's no point
and
in me trying
reinforced.
To take you to Fiji to expedite. There's nothing wrong with going to Fiji. I want to go to Fiji, actually.
Yeah, Bali.
Yeah. But there's no point in me trying to do some big thing to pacify, apologize, or even draw you close.
Or build trust.
What I should be doing are and we're not saying don't do that.
Those things are good.
But this the consistent, everyday actions that make the difference.
Absolutely. That builds the trust.
So like for example, a person who works a lot,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be difficult for you to throw in. This is especially true with kids. There was a huge thing going around a few years ago, maybe still going around, the whole thing about quality time.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I can't spend a lot of time with my spouse, my kids, but the quality time is key. Well, that's not true. I don't believe that to be true.
Right.
I believe that the time that we spend is more important. 8 hours a week just walking, doing life talks, and just living life together is more important than I'm going to take an hour where I'm only going to focus on just this one thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I got what you're saying.
So some of these small agreements can look like you could say something like you might respond in a text when you say you will, or do respond, be kind, do that. Follow through with a promise or boundary. You can do that.
Okay.
Check in emotionally when something feels off.
Okay.
Just checking in, being honest, even when it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Do that.
Okay. And then I've heard you say that safety, and we're talking about building trust.
Mm-hmm.
Safety isn't declared. Hey, you're safe here. It's demonstrated.
Exactly.
Safety isn't declared, it's demonstrated.
Exactly.
Hey, I can, what's that saying? I see better than I hear.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know that
but
saying.
I've heard people say that. I see better than I hear. Okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So why does this really matter, right?
Okay.
We,
Tell me.
Each fulfilled agreement signals to the brain, it's okay to relax here. You're safe. It's like a micro moment of reliability, help, rewind. It's rewired. I said rewind, but it's rewired face-based thinking, and it's developed into a secure attachment. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's important.
And
It matters.
How do you tell me how you use this with clients in the counseling center?
Well, so sometimes I encourage them to track small wins, and moments of consistency, both their own and their partners. You see, I got both of them, not just one. Yes, not one. And then I'll say reinforce their emotional safety is mutual. Make sure it's not one-sided. So sometimes it's just observance. I've told you, I'm big on observing. You can watch a person's behavior.
So let me just explain. You've shared this with me lots of times, but in case anybody missed this, a lot of times when a couple will come into the counseling center, what you will do is sit with them, and I don't know how you do it. You can explain, but basically you just sit back and watch them, whether it's argue, whether it's what you explain.
Yeah, I just allow them to. Excuse me. I just allow them to talk. Interact.
How do you say that? What do you tell them? Hey guys.
Well, sometimes I don't. I just do it. I don't even say anything until after. I'll just say I was just watching how you guys were expressing to each other. Especially if it's an argument, or they may say we have a problem with communication, and then I'll just say, okay, well, tell me about it, and then I'll see one person interrupt the other person, and then I just don't say anything, and I'm just observing and saying, well, I can see. Did you hear what she was saying? It sounds like you interrupted before she could get her thought out. So allow her to get her thought out. And then I want you to respond to her thought, instead of interrupting and saying, well, this isn't right or whatever. You didn't let her get the thought out. But I could then tell I see where the communication problem is. We're not getting it out.
Okay.
All right. So here's some final, I guess, insights.
Security is not the absence of fear.
Right.
Okay. It's the confidence that even with fear, we are seen, known, and still safe. Mm-hmm. So, wow, fear doesn't always shout. We've said this before. It often whispers through sabotage, criticism, or hesitation.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, some of these things are so subtle. In summary, I guess I would talk about being self-aware, especially of the baggage. At one of my men's group, I actually walked in one session with suitcases.
I remember that.
To introduce the idea that we all carry baggage. And some of our suitcases are bigger than others. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, that's what we would encourage you to do. Now, here's what else we would share with you in order to how to make all this work. Teresa is great at giving practical, clinical tools to use. While we are embracing that, we also want to talk about a very powerful relationship, and that is you guys having a relationship with Jesus.
Yes.
That relationship is going to make everything not perfect, not where there isn't situations and troubles and arguments and disagreement, but it's going to make the whole relationship sustainable. So we like to say that relationship makes all your relationships work.
Yes.
So if you haven't made a decision to, hey, Jim, hey, Teresa, I really want to have a personal relationship with Jesus. I want to turn my life over. I want to submit, bow my knee, bow down to him so he can lift me up. That's when this really gets really, really good. Here's what we'd encourage you to do for us. We would really appreciate it so much. If you would subscribe to this show, if you would tell others about it and share, our goal is to influence the way the world does marriage. If you aren't sure, hey, Jim, I want that personal relationship with Jesus. I've heard people talk about it. I don't know what to do. We're going to put in the show notes a very simple yet detailed plan of how you can move from outside the circle to inside the circle. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. We really, really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you next week.